Let's go.
Audio Jungle.
Yeah. I really got the feeling today
Audio Jungle.
that everything is going my way. Now this is what I'm talking about.
Audio Jungle.
Every time I see your smile, it makes me shout. Let's go.
Audio Jungle.
Let's go. Nothing's gonna stop us today.
Audio Jungle.
Get on the bus or get out the way. We're cruising with the radio on.
Audio Jungle.
So turn it up to 10. Here comes our favorite song. Let's go.
Audio Jungle.
Let's go. Let's go.
Audio Jungle.
Let's go.
Hello, let's go. Another episode of the Demystify Tech with Sam. It's another Friday, and thanks for making another date with me. Good morning, good afternoon, good evening, wherever you find yourself. I'm yours truly, Samuel Latrani. I bring to you greetings all the way from Accra, Ghana, and another episode to Demystify, our series on the Microsoft Graph. Well, if you're new here, you can check out our social media page or our YouTube channel to go over everything we've been talking about. When we come back, I'll be sharing with you how to set up your local environment to do some graph development. Stick and stay with me. Awesome! Welcome back. If you have been following us, if you've been following us for the past, I think, 2 weeks, we have been talking about the Microsoft Graph, and I gave some introductory into the whole Microsoft Graph. We saw a couple of examples on how to use it. We looked at the documentations, what we could use it for, and then in last week's episode, we said that we're going to pick one of the existing uh, admin, like free admin template, and then see how we can use us to build a project that leverages on the Microsoft Graph. To do that, I'm going to show you in today's episode. I'm going to walk you through the same process, just like I would do it any which ways and learning something. Walk you through the process on how to make your development environment or local development environment ready for Microsoft Graph development. Well, if you have any questions, as always, put them in whichever platform you are watching me from. I would try to answer them to the best of my knowledge. But till then, welcome. So let's just get right into it. Um, Stories making the news. Well, Ghana's COVID cases has risen to 4,000. I think 4,012. Yeah, a bit alarming. So more reason for us to stay, not to throw caution to the wind and think it's all over, but still continue to adhere to all the protocols that have been laid down for our own safety and those and that of our loved ones. So hey, and if you have any questions pertaining to any of my shows, you can always reach me at hello@sadrani.me or just use any of my social media handles and I'll try to respond to those as soon as possible. Okay, so quick one. Like as always, before I get into it, I always try to talk to you about things that are happening. First up, Microsoft Build is happening from the 19th of May to the 20th of May. It's a digital event. Please go register. If you've not registered, make sure you've done that. Very simple. You can go to register.build.microsoft.com, register.build.microsoft.com. Actually, let me copy the link. Let me put the link address here so you can get it. Go there, sign up, and then, hey, get rocking. Now, the next thing I want to talk about is yes, another event that yours truly is speaking at. It is the Dev Around the Sun. Now, this is it's technically a fundraiser to help relief for people and areas affected with COVID-19. It's on May 12th. Yes, May 12th. Starts from 12 noon, and yes, yours truly will be speaking. It is sorry, it's a fun, it's a fun session from speakers, all over the world. As you can see, speakers like Scott Hanselman is there. We have speakers like Troy Hunt is there, from all over, all over the globe. Pinal Dave is there, our own Adam Komoji is there, and yours truly, myself, I'm also representing. And I'll be talking about something very fun. Beer and IoT is a never-ending story. So don't 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 forget to sign up. It's Dev Around the Sun. You can go to devaroundthesun.org, and just register for the event and make sure you are there. It's going to be an awesome, awesome, awesome event. So don't miss that. Well, okay, sure, 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 sure. Well, so with that out of the way, let's get rocking, right? Let's get rocking. All right. So my friend Dara wants to know Dara wants to know something about, this whole graph stuff. So I'll just be waiting patiently for him in the corner to come, for me to answer those questions. But in the meantime, if you have any questions, you can feel free to put them in any of my social media handles, and I'll answer that. So let's go. Now, first of all, from my previous shows, I made mention that for you to test it, if you want to do any of the Microsoft developer programs, it's good for you to sign up for the Microsoft developer account. It gives you E5 subscription to entire Microsoft, suite for you to test and test out. And Mr. Oladipo is here. Welcome, my brother. Welcome, welcome, welcome. Greetings from Ghana. So, like I was mentioning, you try as much as possible to, get yourself signed up. If you haven't, check out my write up. Actually, let me zoom this in. If you go to my website, esadranyo.me, I have a detailed step-by-step guide on how to create the Microsoft 365 developer account. This will be good for you to explore anything development you want to do on the Microsoft ecosystem. But once you have the account, it helps a lot if you intend to do a lot of development on the Microsoft ecosystem. So try that out, all right, and let me know what you think. But in the meantime, the assumption is that you already have this, you've already tried this. But the good thing about the Microsoft Graph is that you can actually test it without having to, push any code or write anything locally. That is the Graph Explorer. I think we showed this. I showed this I think in the last two episodes. We used the Graph Explorer, which already had, it gives you a dummy account to check your profile, to run the request and see. So as you can see, I'm running a get here. It's returning the information for me. Quite very simple and nice for you to test it out. But today we're taking a step further. We're going to go through the documentation and then we're going to set up our local environment. So if you have any questions, well, let's learn along. All right, so let's take it back a bit. With the assumption that you have all that started. And one thing I really like about this whole thing is the fact that Microsoft documentation is really clear, gives you a lot of resources on how to get started. Let me share some of these things with you. So if you go to get started, and I think we saw an example of this in last week's episode. Yeah, when we went through the get started, we copied an Android project, sorry, a Node project, and then we ran it, and then we're able to interact with, with the graph, Microsoft Graph, checked our meetings, check calendar. We had an app that was running in .NET, really interesting. So first off, you want to choose which platform you want to do your development. That's a key thing. You want to choose whether you want to do .NET, you want to do Angular, you want to do Node, JavaScript, React, any of it. I'm thinking that especially for our friends that are in the open source or the not Microsoft ecosystem, that was the main reason why in the very last episode I used Node, because I just wanted to let you know that it doesn't really matter. It doesn't have to be any Microsoft ecosystem. As you can see, you can use most of it from here. So if I select Node, it's going to scaffold. We saw this in last week's episode. We went through the quick, build an app or create your own project or download the SDK. We went through this process. It built an app for us. we had to go register an app. We registered the app, we copied the app key, the secret key for the app, we brought it into our application, and then it was running smoothly. So that was build an app, right? That was downloading a working project. That's what we did the last time. So now we want to create a project from scratch, right? And then you can also use the libraries you need to develop your own, to develop on the platform. So today I would want us to, take a close look at how we can, build our first application from scratch, all right, using this solution. Um, this will help us set up the environment we want. We can also take a look at the SDKs which you need. Sorry about that. The SDKs which you need to do that. Now, as you can see, like I mentioned, there's tons and tons of very good documentations for you to do this. If you look at this, the code samples, how you can use webhook, the security sample, the sentiment bot, which is still using the Microsoft Graph, Microsoft Cognitive Services, and Microsoft Bot Framework to do sentiment analysis and Node.js of application. This looks interesting. Let me push this here. I probably look at that. Then the accessing contacts using the graph. I think this was a simple illustration that we saw. And look, there are tons and tons of this. You can go further with your training by leveraging the graph and third-party APIs. You can look at this. So managing group lifecycle with graphs, accessing user data, Microsoft identity. So there is a lot of content for you to get started with. But as you know, you always need to take the first steps, baby steps. Don't let this overwhelm you. Always start from the basics. It's like learning. Um, it's like learning any new language. All right. So that's why I want us to go with build your first application from scratch. So 30 minutes. I think we can do this. So let's go create a new project. Let's walk through the experience. All right. And then after this, we should be ready to go ahead and bring in our free admin. And I think the other time we settled on, let's do free admin dashboard template. I think the last time we settled on one. Let's see. One that I felt was not this, that, not that, not this, not this, not that. Where are you, friend? Yep. So we settled on this. So after a few things, we settled on using this one. So the idea is we'll try to use this backend admin template, free one, and then hook it up with the Microsoft Graphs and pull data from it into this dashboard. And I think there are other UI stuff for mail and some other things that we'll try to build into this. So hopefully the next couple of weeks on this series will be quite interesting. So let's just get back into it. All right. Yeah, this is a code sample that I opened. All right, so this is getting started. So first of all, it's saying that we're going to build a Node.js with Express app working with the Microsoft Graph. This would enable us set up our environment and start doing the graph development locally. All right. All right, so let's go through this. And I'm walking you through, I'm deliberately walking you through this process so that you get the experience of how it is easy to use the Microsoft documentations to create or to learn new stuff on the Microsoft platform and in respect to this graph. All right. So that's why I'm walking you through this process. I could have just gone and done a tutorial and posted it there, but I'm just walking you through a process of how I would have gone about it, learning something new, and also to give you the opportunity to also realize that there are a lot of content and example and documents for you to use. All right. So don't worry, keep your questions coming. If you have anything, I'll try to answer them. So this tutorial teaches you how to build a Node Express web app that uses Microsoft Graph API to retrieve calendar information for a user. All right. We saw that quickly, but this time we're going to set it up. So first of all, download the Node. All right. If you prefer to just download a complete tutorial, we can do this. All right. That is what we did when I started with this session or with this series. I used that to just show you quickly, but now we are trying to get this started on our own. All right. We want to work this through. So before you get started, this demo, you should start this demo. You should have Node installed. We have Node. So I'm going to go ahead and I like to use this to always scaffold my project. I don't know why, but it's something that um something that I like to do. So just to show that I have Node, so I'm going to do Node. Boop, 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 boop. So I have Node version 10.14. Oh, this is cool. Cool. Well, so I have Node installed, so we're good to go. I always like my stuff in. So we have a graph folder. Let's see what is in there. So we have the graph tutorial. Okay, what's a folder in there? Ah, there is a Git repository there. That is the base. Let's see, what do we have? What do we have? Okay, I'm going to go back then, and let's call this graph 101. And let's see the graph 101. Now, the reason why I like this command prompt is that I can use Linux and Windows commands. Like, as you can see, I'm using ls, I can use dir, and it all works fine. So because I've been using these two platforms, this will not give me any stress. All right, so now I know I have Node installed. So it says that this was written in Node 12. The steps in the guide may work with other versions, but has not been tested. Okay, so now if we check our Node version, when we checked it, we had like 10.14, right? And they're saying that this particular test was done with Node 12. So you know what? Let's see. I think I have NVM. Yes. So this is why I use the Node version manager. So the Node version manager allows me to install pretty much any versions of Node to use, like far ahead or behind and all that, right? So let's see what we have here. So let's do nvm nvm list. Let's see what we have. So I have 12.13. All right, install. And then, oh, okay, that's cool. So let me go ahead let's do this. So I have 12.13 and this was done with 12.6, right? Cool. So what I can do now is I can go in there and say, use the command, the nvm use 12.13.0, all right? And yes, I want to use that. It runs this command for me. And then now when I do my node version, I get node 12.13.0. Cool. Yep. So now that has been taken care of. If you don't have NVM, check that out. It's a good tool, especially as a developer, to have NVM instead of having just one straight node version installed. So with this, I can install different versions of NVM and I am fine, right? Different versions of Node and I'll be fine. Okay, so this module has been recorded and is available in Office Development YouTube channel. Do you want to do this, or we should just begin, create the rest? So create the expert. So you can see the steps here. The steps are on the left side. Because it's a video, let me copy the link for you. So for those of you who would want to try this after, you can go check that out. However, we will just go straight to begin, create the Node and Express app, right? Because we want to learn the experience. So we have we're using Express to build, so make sure that you have Express. If you don't have it, it's quite simple. So now we're going to install, as you can see, let me zoom this up so we can properly, right? Cool. So first of all, we're going to install our Express, all right? Express, and then the graph, all right? So let me use npx this, or I could just do copy from here. Let's come here, and within the same folder, okay, just run this. And this will make sure I have the, let's see. I am beginning to suspect, okay, So there you go. So it's created the whole structure for me. So they created an express generator, all right, that uses the graph stuff. So as you can see, it's scaffolded the project for me, right? So I have, I think it's called graph tutorial. Yeah, 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 yep, yep. So it created it created a new folder called graph tutorial for me. As you can see, there you go. And then it installed all the dependencies, and then to run the application was set to go in this way. So let's check this out. If I do ls.la, as you can see, graph tutorial, right? So we need to change into that. I can just copy this. There you go. If I do ls, so as you can see, app, bin, package, public route, views, all that has been set for me, right? But as you can see, we need to install all the dependencies, all right? It's created a node package or a node packages a JSON file, which has all the packages we need. So I need to run npm install to have them, installed. So let's go ahead, npm, run npm install, and let's wait for all the packages to be done. And once all the packages are done, all right, it says we have 5 vulnerabilities. Let's try to see if we can fix this with npm audit fix. If they are fixable automatically, if they are not, we'll probably have to manually fix it. So this is where I use tools like Snake. Okay, remove one package and beta 4, fix 505. Yep, we're good. We don't have any vulnerabilities. So now we can run, we can set the debug to graph tutorials and then, npm start, run the application. So all we are doing is that we're telling it we're running it in debug mode and enable debug so that if there's any error, we're going to know where within the application the error is coming from. So if we do this, this should start the application and you can see it's running on port 3000. So let's bring in our, let's go here, local. Let's go to localhost port 3000. Check this out. So we have a very basic Express application. All right, very, 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 very basic. So all we've done so far is just to scaffold the application and just spilling this out. Now, if you think working in here, so let's clear this. Let me stop this. Yes. Now, if working in this environment is not that fun, let's now take it to our IDE or code editor of choice. In my case, Visual Studio Code. So let's do this. So I can go in the same folder, type in code dot, which means open Visual Studio Code, and set this folder as its workspace. And then voila, here we go. So now we've moved into Visual Studio Code. And here you can see more details. All right, so this is our folder, graph tutorial. This is the bin where everything will be published. As you can see, node modules all installed. And if you look at let's look at the packages.json to see what dependencies. So we're using cookie parser, debug. That is how we're able to send debug messages. We're using Express, obviously. We said there's going to be Express. Using handlebars. So we're using handlebars for the formatting. All right. So handlebars is just what we're going to use for the formatting. So a cool thing would be, you see the page, the admin template that I showed you earlier on, right? We could now pick those admin templates and convert them using handlebars. And then we have HTTP errors and then Morgan for logging and header checking and all that. Now, do you see what's happening here? You can see saying scanning for what vulnerabilities. I have a couple of extensions that enables me to do this. I have Snake, and I think I have what's the name of the extension? I'll check and let you know. So these extensions are in my Visual Studio and they check all my node packages to let me know if there are any errors. And then I have like linters and static analysis tools, extensions also built into it that tell me if the code I'm writing has issues and all that. So as we're going on, you're going to see some of these extensions that I use. Dara, I'm actually waiting for the questions you wanted to ask me. Anyway, all right. So this is our packages, and let's look at our package. So this is a script as you're seeing. So if you run node or start, this is what happens. But if you add a debug to it, like you saw, it's able to it tells a node engine that we're running in debug mode, right? Cool. So let's get this out of the way. And then, so this is, look at it, app, we're creating an Express app. So this is the arrows, the Express, the path, the cookie passer. As you can see, the logger, we're using Morgan to do the logging. We have the index route, we have the user's route, which is calling from our route. Now, there's another extension that I have that is able to calculate the size or the size of all the dependencies I bring in, just to enable me give me an overview of how large or small my code is. And then let's do this. There's hint. Okay. So it wants me to install JS hint so it can load the library. I will do that right here. So I'll do npm, and this one is not going to be global, all right? So I'm supposed to run npm install JS hint. So let's do that. This antivirus, or we, all right? Install JS hint. What's happening? Ah, see what I see what I did. It's npm, I did npm. There you go. And I'm going to restart this. Once it's done, it's going to reload the project and make sure JS hint is working for my JS linting and hinting and snippets and all that, right? Okay, very aggressive. Right, whilst that's happening, so what our index routes is being pulled from our routes folder, and then index for user, the same thing. So we're using a very simple, project structure, and then our Express app, obviously. So this is the parts to our views, which is done by handlebars, as you can see. And we are setting our view engine to handlebars. If you're familiar with Express development, this is like the very basic and core of it. Then obviously, so we are telling the app we're using our logger, which is Morgan, right? But this is development. Then we're telling also that we're using Express.json. This is a URL encoded extension. So cookie passer, setting it, and then setting up our static parts for where anytime we reference public, it knows that it's going into this like public folder. All right. So these are just like very basic setups for a Node or Express application. And that's it. Catching, so here the default goes to the index route. And then if you do slash users, uh, I've been running some build scenarios with .NET. So UWP plus ASP.NET Core and Xamarin build end-to-end user scenarios for different industries, verticals. Once I complete one of the scenarios, I'll open up to this repo. Awesome. Awesome, 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 awesome. Thanks, Dara, for that awesomeness. Thanks for that. Thanks for that. Thanks for that. Okay. So, yeah. And as you can see, if you run the app, it takes you to the index route. Let's take a look at what's in the index route. So basically, see, this is all in the index route using Express, and we've created a route, and then we say that anytime you come here, we're just rendering what index, and what's the so index is going to come from the view, all right? So and then we are passing a data that contains title of value express. So go and look at the index.handlebar. As you see, that's it. Each one with a title of Express, and it says welcome to Express. All right. So if I go here and say welcome to Microsoft Graph, okay, and I save this, and if we go ahead, then if we go ahead and we set debug and we run this again, oh, what did I just do? Let's just do npm that npm that it's going to go back to 300. All right. So once that happens, yep, sorry about that. Once that happens, if I refresh this, we should see Microsoft Graph. Welcome to Microsoft Graph. All right. So very, very basic. All right. So very basic Express setup. So that's all is in the index, and this is the handlebars. Right. Cool. Awesome. So now we have this setup. Let's stop this. I could have used Okay, cool. Awesome. All right. So now let's get back to, so I can leave this. Now let's get back to our, cool. So that's installed, right? So we've run install, we fixed anything, we've started it. And like I mentioned, so these are, so before moving on, we need to install some additional packages. All right. So this is, and I like the way they, and I like the way they have outlined, apply always. Sorry about this. I have a very aggressive antivirus that keeps popping up and trying to save me from, the wickedness of the web and the world. So it comes up and I update that. All right. So if you've been watching a lot of my streams, I've been using .m for a very long time. All right. In that, I use that to get configuration from my environmental variables. All right. Um, Environmental variables. So it's a cool way to do that. I think you saw this in one of my videos. The moment is for date time. Now connect flash allows us to pass messages, error messages from various routes that you can capture in your front end and display with something like suite alerts or something like that. All right. And then there is the express session that stores values in memory for our server-side sessions. Now there's a passport Azure ID. Now this is built on top of the passport JS library. But this one is specific for Azure AD. It has gotten all the functions and method for you to call into Azure, Azure AD and the Microsoft Identity Platform. So, and then simple OAuth for token management. And then we have what? The Microsoft Graph Client. All right. So this is the reason why I wanted us to go through the steps so we see how to do it. Now, it doesn't matter. We can copy this whole thing here. All right. You can copy it and do it one. All right. Um, and then do it like just do it once. You can copy the whole thing and do it once, all right? Or you can just do it one after the other, all right? So what I try to do is I don't, unless of course there's something peculiar about the specific versions they are using. I usually would just go install, Express, not at any particular version, but because we want well, let's see. I'm contemplating whether we should just follow this or just go ahead and install like .env, install moment, install, and not necessarily. Okay, you know what? I'm going to do something here. Let's try something. So I'm just going to do it like I would have done, not being specific about the version. I want to believe that they probably have tried with this specific versions of the various node modules and it works for them. So the the idea would be if we probably try anything above it, it might not work. But hey, we're learning, so being curious. So if I were to install that, this is how I've done it. I'll just probably go on ahead to do npm install. All right, .env. What did I do? npm install.env, and look at the version it installed. It installed 8.20. 8.2.0. Is it 8.2.0? Yep. So that's why I would have just gone ahead to install this and all that. So let's try this. You can actually install multiple ones, all right? So let me bring this here. And then let's do npm install. So we know we need moment. What else? We need connect flash. Uh, we need connect flash. So I can add that to it. Let me bring this up here and actually close this so you guys can see this properly. So we need connect flash. What else do we need? Need express session. Um, yeah, let's run this. I'm doing this on purpose so that I can see. I could have typed the whole thing, but I want to see the versions. I want to make sure that the versions have tallied. What's this? Okay. No, there's a problem. It says what? Oh, Jira's notify file. Just workspace. Oh, okay, I think yeah. There's nothing here. There's nothing. Yeah, we're fine. All right. So let's check this. So connect flash 0.11, express session 1.17.1, and then moment. So look at this. So 0.11, that's it, 1.17.0, and I think moment was 2.24.0. Let's be sure. Moment to okay. So moment there's an update to moment. All right. Okay. So let's go ahead and install the rest of the module. And remember, if you have any questions, keep them coming. So now, which one is the ISO? Oh, okay, this one here. Polyfills to polyfills the fetch for node. Okay, it's required for the Microsoft Graph client. Okay, that's a requirement based on the Microsoft Graph client. All right. Okay, no P. We'll install it for you, no problem. So we need this. Put this here. What else do we need? Um, okay, let's install this and then let's go back and then come and install the rest of the thing of the modules. Okay, so what's the message field to please install JSint in your workspace folder using npm install JSint or globally using install JSint. I think we have this. You know what? Let's just avoid all this brouhaha that this thing is causing us. Let's just install it. Great, there are no vulnerabilities. Thank you. And let's go ahead and get the other dependency. So now what will happen is that if we check let's check our packages.json, this would have, as you can see, it's going to connect flash, cookie passer. Okay, so one vulnerability, click to fix. So let's fix this. Come on, come on, come on, come on. Fix this, fix this, fix this, fix this, fix it. Fix it for me. There's a vulnerability here, fix it. I mean, this was not part of the requirements because let's see this quick fix. I am using this, to fix it, fix vulnerability. So I have, yeah, as you can see, I have Snake. It's a utility that allows me to check node modules and fix vulnerabilities. And also, it stores this in my profile for all my projects and tells me if there are updates. Sometimes your vulnerabilities don't have any fix yet, but then it keeps that information and informs me if there's a fix. So that's why I like to use the Snake extension, right? So once that is happening, um, let's see. Yep. All right. So whilst that's happening, so let's be sure that we have everything here. All right. Let's close this and let's this. Cool. And go back to my terminal where I'm doing the installation. Okay. So now what do we need? We need to install Passport Azure AD. So let's take this here. Um, what else? Need simple auth. Need um okay, so yeah, we'll need this is specific with Microsoft, so yeah, we need to use the specifics. I've had issues with for Microsoft modules, I would be specific on the ones that they use. So we would go with that route, install this, and boop, let's see what we have. So we've been told that there's a possibility we can have some error. If it happens, thankfully there is a remedy for that. So let's see. So let's see what we have. Okay, so the passport, module. Okay. Oh, I think there is an output now. So yeah, pretty much looks like everything is okay. Those, yeah, as medium vulnerability. Yeah, we have this, but waiting. Yeah, looks like we're okay for now. Please install JS hint. Yeah, we've done this. I'll just clear this output here. Problems. Yeah, fix this vulnerability. Um, no remediation available. Oh, so I think it's because it's using um yeah, it's using Lodash, and so I think yeah, for this particular JS hint, no remedies. Okay, well, okay, so Passport also has vulnerabilities. So Passport Azure AD 4.21 has a vulnerability. Let's look at is it 4.2.1. Let's look at the one they used for. Yeah, it's the same one, and they're saying there's a vulnerability in there. Well, I hope the Passport team, the Azure AD Passport team is watching. That is because let's look at this again. Fix the vulnerability. So yeah, this is it. Yeah, prototype pollution is an indirect thing. So it's coming from Lodash. So yeah, I know Lodash has been. I don't know. I thought that has been fixed, but it looks like a lot of modules are dependent on Lodash. So it keeps coming in as a vulnerability here. I mean, so it's good for you to check out the Snake extension. It really helps out. All right, cool. Let's go to our terminal. No, I'm not doing this. So let's clear this. So we have two vulnerabilities in Passport and JS8. No problem. We'll rectify this as we go on. Cool. Awesome. So now looks like we are cool to go. Right? Right. Now it says that Windows users may get the following error when trying to install these packages on Windows. I don't think we got anything like this, so we are fine. Yep, updates. Okay, so now it says that we need to update the application to use the Connect Flash and Express Sessions middleware. So we have to add this require. So quite simple. So I think I would. Okay, so let's open this. So now this is going to go into the app. Yeah. So let's close this. So now we need to add that require in there as well. All right. So session flash by using them, Connect Flash, added those in it. And then we need to now set this up. So we need to tell it we're using session, and then we need to set this up. Okay. So this is going to happen after our express, and then I would explain this once we add this to our code base. So right here. All right. So we created an express application. All right. We've created an application, and now we need to inject the middle. We're telling it, okay, so we're using session, okay, which we just added express session. We're using that. So the secret, all right, whatever secret we want to use, all right, for our session, so that our sessions will be pre-tagged with this secret. Now, a couple of ways you can do this. Now, I realize that we're not using it here though, but if I wanted to, I'll come up here and create like a .m, all right, a .m file, okay, and then in that .m file, I can call this session that's so-called secret, right? And then this can be equal to, let's say, AZ1 to that. What, I'm not 007 Bond, whatever, all right? It's quite some session, okay? And I have this now. So I can now go in here and say that now instead of just saying your secret value here, because it's something that I would not. Thank you very much, Kwame Amo. Thank you. Thanks for joining. So what I'm saying is, so here, instead of typing this whole thing which is open, I under no circumstance would I even check this in. So in my get ignore, I would ignore this file because this is going to be set in whichever hosting environment I have. It's going to go into the environmental variables. All right. So here I can now say that in place of this, I can say call this from process.m dot this. Does that make sense? So now it's going to pick this from this M file. So here I can put all my secret and not expose them. Is that okay? I need to learn some of this node language. Don't say my name. I need to learn some of this node language. The thing looks sweet and I need it for future classified purposes. Oh, no worries, my brother. Oh, sure. I got you. I got you covered, man. I got you covered on this. All right. So now what's happening is that I can come in here and put all my secrets or things I don't want to expose. Best practices. Follow the 12-factor app. You understand these things very well. So now I'm only setting the session. So this is where Node Express works with the concept of middlewares. So within the request pipeline, you can inject a lot of middlewares. All right. So like you can inject session middleware, you can inject like authentication middleware, you can inject functions or things that should happen within the request pipeline. Now I hope my mentees are watching. I hope they are watching today's show. Else well. Okay, so awesome. All right, so let's get going. Yeah. So resave false saying that no resave a session. We need to and then unset. Let's destroy. And then now we're using the Flash middleware, as you can see. So we are injecting the middleware into the request pipeline. So here it tells us that we want to use Flash. And then we're setting up local variables for template layout. Okay, so this is how you do that. So this reads any flashed errors. So because we've injected the Flash module, anytime we are trying to do a process, we can say Flash and send a message, send an error message. And then in the request or response pipeline, this is going to look for any flash messages. All right, as you can see, request.flash. Any error messages we pass within the flash is going to be stored within this local, the local variable. This is something common to Node and Express. So it's going to store it in this variable for us to access in any other part of the application. And then like you can see, so our errors is request.flash, flash.errors. We are checking if there's any. If we don't have any, for all the errors we have, we're pushing them into our errors, and then we can move on to the next cycle. And then here we've already seen this. So this is the only change we added to our code. All right. I hope that's clear enough. Nothing crazy. So now we're going to go to our layout. Now this is where we're going to create kind of like the layout is, you would say, the template or the scheme, all right, for your website. So this template is going to be, the layout is going to be like the default layout where other stuff will be placed. So let's copy this. This is the HTML. Copy this. So we're going to put this into the layout.handlebars file. All right. So, and then I'll explain that as well. Very simple. So let's go to our views layout. So this is all we had. Simple layout that's just call the title from wherever this is called and then passes the body into it. Quite very simple. All right. But now we're going to use this. Let's save this. Let me look for my beautify this file. It's actually an HTML. There you go. Makes it beautiful. Just extensions I use to make my life very easy. So as you can see, very simple. It's like HTML, but within HTML, we're replacing a few things. So if you look closely, take a look at this. We are adding what? Bootstrap. All right. There you go. We're adding Bootstrap. And then we're adding Font Awesome. And then we're adding our own style. So it's the same thing. That's what I'm saying. You can pick like the admin templates that we saw. You can bring this in, just replace the part of it that has to be dynamic with the content coming from our graph endpoint and then other data sources, right? There's a nav bar. This is now purely Bootstrap development. We're calling this Node.js graph tutorial. So this is like, now check this out. So this is it. Hannibal is passing like active home. So this is like passing the classes, some custom classes we've done, which shows quite very simple. If we have a user there, toggle, all that. So this is like very basic Bootstrap mixed with handlebars and data coming from the graph framework. And you can see our script. We have our jQuery, we have some Bootstrap specific stuff, and then we have this, popper stuff. Um, JS Liver popper. It's like a pop-up something. I've not used this library before, so I can't really talk about it. Cool. But now this replaces it. So let's save. Now this is not complete because there are like messages and things coming in that we've not brought yet. So if we go ahead and try to do this, if we try to do npm start and run, we might get some errors. All right. Yeah, no problem. We might get some errors running it. Just to validate this, let's go back here. Let's refresh. You see? So now we have our header being cool. All right. Now we require a session. We've not created a session and all that. And as you can see, a lot of things are missing in here. All right, because we need to provide data for the rest of the placeholders that we've created. All right. But as you can see, quite simple. All right. The links and other stuff are working fine. Sign in, we've not hooked that up yet. Now, anytime you're creating the app, you also need to register it with your in your portal. You have to register the app as an app that you want to interact with your backend. All right. So we're going to do all that in a step. So now that step has been cleared. All right. So we've done this. We move this in there. Cool. So as you can see, we've added Bootstrap, Photon, Some, and then now we have to open our styles and add this style. Very simple. All right. So let's go ahead. Go to our public styles. Open this. We are supposed to add this alert. There you go. We added that. And then we need to add in the index. So we need to open the index view and then change it to this, right? Bunch of changes here. So let's go to our view, open our index. So this is what we want our index to look like. And then for our routes, since now we're working on the index page. Now, if you're using, there are other node application structures that try to keep like route, views, everything in one folder, different structures. I would go with a very simplistic one if it's not a really huge project. So, but if it's a huge project, you will have to revisit your application structure. So let's replace here with everything in the routes for index. So let's go to our route and index. So as you can see, the route was very, very basic. Okay. Let's stop this so we can actually get this out here. So the route was very basic. Look, express route. We have express the route and a simple route. All right. Now, so the same thing this time around. You see what we're doing? We're sending a parameter, and here we are saying that the parameters include something called active and home true. So we are calling the index layout or view here, all right, and we are passing active home true. Okay, so anytime this index is called, let's look at it. You see that? So we are going to have something called like active index, and this is going to be in the layout. Since the layout is like the mother page. So if you look closely, you see that if active home, this is being ingested, it's being like put into it from the route. All right, here you see that. So active home. So that's it. So this is going to, if you do active.home in this layout here, it's going to set, this is going to set whichever the link to active. It's going to pass you the active style. So that's just it for that side. So now if we save all this and we run, we should have a basic page like this. Okay, let's go try this out. Let's see if this works before we move to registering the app. So step by step. So save the whole of this. Come here. Let's do our node start, npm start. Let's go back to our localhost and refresh. Let's do. Don't have anything like auth yet, so this will be okay. So error secret option required for session at index. Okay, layer, blah 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 blah. Yeah, what's up, alert? Think. Oh, sorry about that. That's true. That's true. That's true. Actually, you know what? Yeah, I need to. Yeah, I always muted this because it makes you think that, oops, you have a message. Thanks for that. Winks 3. Thanks so much. Thanks for pointing that out. All right. Okay, so let's go back here. Saying we have something with a secret string. Think. Um. So I'm gonna close this, close this. Index is not saved. So let me save this, and then here, where is that? Hopefully, yep, session here, set. Yeah, let's try this again. Let's start this. Hold on, let's see. Let me. Oh, okay. So this is why we're having blah blah blah. Hey, welcome. Hope you're doing good. So this is why it's not working. All right. So I mentioned that I want to read the secret from my M file. All right. However, I haven't told my application how to read it. All right. I haven't told my application how to read it. So two ways. I mean, to show you that that's the problem, I can go here. Let's copy this. All right, and then let me just put like someone says, let's put blah blah blah. Right. So lady lightly light, lightly light. I'm picking your blah blah blah, and then let's do this again. Okay. So let's start and let's go back here. And there you go. So it's working. All right. So my bad. However, storing or hard coding secrets is not a good idea. Not at all. Don't do that. It's not good. All right. So we are not going to do that in this session. So I'm going back to fix the problem. All right. So thank you, Lady Lighty Lights. Thank you very much. So let's fix it. So let's go back to the code. All right. So here I'm just going to replace it with this, the same thing. But now I need to do something for our application to understand how to read environmental variables or read from this M file. So remember we added a package called, where's that, .env. This is what enables it to happen, all right? So I'm going to go into our app. This is what we're going to use it. And usually it's recommended to be the first thing so it can read any app stuff. So I'll just say um, let's do this. I'll just go ahead and say require. All right. We'll just do this. Oh, why did I do that? Okay, we're just going to do require dot m, and then I'm going to call dot what? It has a config method I'll call, and that is it. So now this has enabled this particular file, JavaScript file app.js, to tell it that, hey, if you want to read any .m file, now I have that capability to read it. And therefore, I would come here and read this. All right. If you doubt it, I can easily come back here and say, no, that's fine. No problem. So when the app starts, so all right. Now another cool extension that I use. So those of you that might have heard things about big O notation, code complexity, and all that, I have an extension that allows me to know my complexity is 3, which tells me this is quite optimal. Now, as you keep writing stuff, if the color keeps changing from yellow to red, it means no, you need to optimize this code. So this is some of the extensions I use that helped me. That actually helped me, to make sure I'm writing optimal code. All right, so cool. So now that we've told our application how to read environmental variables, and then we've removed our secret, which is the blah blah blah, and now telling it to use this, let's go back and run the application again and check out if this works. So let's go here and then refresh, and boop, we are in business. All right. If you still want to check or make sure that it's spilling out that information, let's do this. I just want to show you this so you will learn something new as well. So where is that? Up. You see, it says that listening on port. I'm looking for where it's writing that message. Where is that? Look out, look out, look out, look. Boop, 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 boop. So let's go to where is that? Okay, go, go, okay, then push, there we push. Okay, that's it. Yep. So as you can see, yeah, that does it. Now, so we've crossed that hurdle. Now I mentioned that when when you want to use a graph, all right, you need to register application so Microsoft knows, or your Azure knows that Azure tenant knows that, hey, this app is registered to read data from our site. So that's the next thing we're going to do, right? So now we're going to register the app with what in our app portal. So let's go ahead next. So to do that, you can use the Active Directory admin center, which is like aad.portal.azure.com. All right, so let's copy this, or let me actually just open this in a tab for us to see. So quite simple. We're going to go in there. We're going to select the Active Directory, and then we're going to do app registration, and then under the manage for the app registration. All right, we're going to create, a name. And now take a look at this, because as we are running Node, a couple of key things we need to do. The redirect URI is very important. That is where we want Azure Active Directory to redirect us after it does the authentication. So let's be mindful of that. So let's go ahead. I'm going to use the Demystify Tech how do you call it? The Demystify Tech Azure stuff. So let's go and use that. Well, if there's any question, we still have a few more minutes to go. I think we've gone a bit over an hour, but if you just bear with me for a few more minutes, I want us to finish this so that in next week's episode we can start to connect our admin template to what we've done. Just try to modify it and make it look a bit like we want. All right. There's also a request that how can you use this with Vue or React? Okay. If I think I'll do a poll on my Twitter handle. If you want next week's episode to show you how to connect this to a React app or a Vue app, I'll probably I'm going to put a poll, and then you can go to my Twitter page and do that. Okay, let's get this going. Okay. We don't want to stay. We don't want to stay. And like I mentioned, Demystify Tech is my show that really talks about everything Azure, Microsoft Azure, and its connectivity to other applications, open source, Oracle, blah, blah, blah. Think about that. So you might see me bring on guests or other MVPs to come and host specific shows or specific topics on this platform or on the show. So it's not always going to be me. All right. So you might see like Frank, you might see Dara, you might see Sheyi, you might see other people on the show, just sharing their lab. Or you might see me collaborating with people across board to talk about anything tech related to the Microsoft Azure ecosystem. It's Friday. I think I'm going to drink a beer after this. Anyway, hey, someone, focus, focus, focus. All right. So I think to make this interactive, can you just tell me in the chat what your favorite languages or favorite okay, let's say, so let's what is your favorite front end library stroke framework? Is it Vue? Is it React? Is it Angular? Put it in the chat. Let's see. Let's have some fun. All right. So here we're gonna click. Let me make this big for so you guys can see what I'm doing. So we're gonna go here, click on Active Directory, and then we're gonna go here to App Registrations. And then on the app registration, you can see I have registered a few apps in this. So I'm going to go to new registration, right? And what's the name? We can give it any name, all right? So let's say this is the uh let's use what the so let's call it Node.js graph tutorial. Unless you want me to do the same thing in like React or Vue or Angular, I can do that. It's going to be dependent on what you guys want me to do. So let's do Node graph. And here, so who can use this application or access this API? Accounts in this organization directly only. So this would only be accessible to people just within our Demystify Tech tenant. But we want is to open Angular. Okay. Key Edwin say it's Angular. Okay. Why Angular? Let's have a discussion. Let's let's Oh, I have another Angular. Let's just talk about it. Okay, so we're going to keep this to organization. Let's see if they kept it to organizational. Support account types. Accounting. Okay, so here in any organization directory or personal Microsoft account. All right, so this is opening it up. But that's what I was explaining. So this, if you do this, it means people have to be within just this tenant to access the application. But obviously, you want it to be a universal application. So I can say that account in any organization or directory and personal Microsoft accounts. All right, so people can use the application irrespective of. All right, okay. And then so here, is it a web or public, as in a mobile or desktop application? It's a web application. If you're creating it for a mobile app or a native app, you select this and provide your like reroute URL, redirect URL. But we are going to use web, and here we have to use a path or a route that we are later going to create in the Node application so that when the reroute happens or after the logging happens, now we can use this logging, all right? We can redirect the user after they logging to our app, all right? So this says we should use local. So currently, you realize that this is what we're running from. We're running localhost 3000. This is the app. Now, if you move to production, this URL will change. So let's say if I hosted it on Heroku, if I hosted it on Google Cloud or Azure or any hosting provider, it would be the path to where that route is. Don't forget, because I'm running this locally, that's why the route is there. All right. So let's copy this. As you can see, we are adding auth callback. So it means that I have to create a route for auth callback. All right, in our Node application. So we're going to see that pretty shortly. So let's copy this and put that in as our URI, callback URI. So after validation or the signing is going to bring us here. Then go ahead and register. Now, this is going to generate two pieces of information. All right, it's going to generate, we can now go and actually get, so look at this. See the application client ID. We need this. That's one. And then we're going to also need some secret keys. All right, because we need that to authenticate. So we can do that from security certificate and secret. But let me copy the application client ID. And then remember, let's go here. And because it's a key, so again, I can come here and say, I'll call it app underscore what ID equals. I cannot do it this way, but the cool thing about this, how do you call it? This environmental file is that I can remove the code and it's still fine, right? So you see this. So now I don't need to be exposing this like I'm exposing it to you right now, but ideally I won't check this in. This would be in my local environmental variable on the server or hosting platform that I am doing. All right. Then I'll do app underscore tweet. It's not We don't have anything yet, but I'll come and put this here because now I know how to access it within my application. So let's do that. So that is copied, all right? Awesome. Awesome. So now, what next? We have this done. As you can see, we've set this up. Now, overview, right? And then we have this. Now, copy the value for application, like I mentioned, client ID. We have done that and save it. Need it for the next step, right? Now, we now need to go ahead and give this some, like I mentioned, some access. So we go to what authentication, and then we're going to give it some grant. So let's go ahead and authentication, manage, and then implicit grant, and we're going to enable ID tokens and then save. So let's go do that, right? So let's go here at the authentication. As you can see, implicit grant. We're going to use what? ID token, right? ID tokens, right? Because we're allowing an application to do that. We're trying to do the implicit grant flow. This was one of the headaches that if you have been using the Microsoft Authentication Library was not available some years ago. This was very, very painful. But now this has been taken care of. If you're watching on watching on Twitter, I hope this is working. Yes, it's working. Awesome, awesome, awesome. We can go here. Cool. Okay, so we do this and then we hit save. Save, 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 save for this application. Yep. All right. So this is save. So say what? Account is in. Okay, yes. Account in organization. Now to change the support account for existing registration, use the manifest. Ah, yeah, that's fine. Allow direct integration with Microsoft account services. So we're just going to leave this, as the default. Nothing. Oh my. Oh, it's going down. Yeah, something is going down and it's exciting me. But hey, focus, 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 focus. All right. Okay, so let's get to this. Cool. So, um we have gone ahead to set this ID tokens and save. Now we now need to get the app secret. All right. So select certificates and secret, and then we're going to create a new client secret. All right. Enter the value for the description, anything, and then just set it to never expires, and then we're going to add that. And then I'm going to copy that secret. Okay, copy the secret and also save it because we're going to use it in the application. The client secret is never shown again, so make sure you copy it now. Yep, I'll go ahead and change this after that. So let's go ahead and the tokens and okay, let me reduce this a bit. Come here and then I can go to new client secret. I'll just call this forever. Never expires. Add, and this is adding it, and then I can copy it. Copy, and come back here. And because I copied it, as always, I'm going to go back here. So we have our app secret. Paste it here. Save. We are good to go. So now that has been taken care of. All right. Copy it. And then, yeah. Now let's go ahead and add the AD authentication to our. Now we're going to see how cool this is. Like how simple this is to implement. So this is done. Let's go next. So here, take a look at this. So you see this. So hold on. There's something that is missing here. We needed to ensure that the access to the app under security, we needed to give them access to the claims. All right, as to what they have. Okay, I'm sure we're going to do that in the next one. So look at this. It says that create a new file named .m file in your root. Okay, this is required to obtain. So we added this. We're going to integrate this into our app. So here we go. So this is what I've been doing for a while now. So it means they want us to add this to it. Okay, so I'm going to copy the whole of this or just copy it. Let's go to our app and paste this. So alt app, your app ID here. We have the app ID here already. So I'm going to copy this, put here. I could leave it this way, it will still work. So I'm not really bothered. And then I can get rid of this. And I need to always reference it with alt app ID in code. Okay. Where is that? Where is that? Where is that? Alt app password. Oh, do we have that? Association secret, I'm going to keep it that way. And then app secret. Oh, okay. So I think that is the. I think that would be the app password. I think that would be the app password. So as you can see, we've set all these things, but this scope, the scope you're seeing here, we have to add the scope to it in the portal. I think we're going to do that in a subscriber. But the app password, I believe, is what is where we're going to. We're going to ask us to put that here. So you replace. So you see that. So it's not app secret. So here it's saying replace the app ID with the app ID we have, and then replace your app secret here with the password you generated. Uh, Nothing like app secret. So I think we should. So app secret here, your password here. Nope, nope, nope. Is odd app password. So your app ID here and your app secret. So okay, so control avoid leaking your app. So if you're using source code sessions, get we'll put that. We always exclude that. Okay, so this is where I think we need to change this. So I think I would just make a pull request to change this so that this is changed. So it's saying app secret here, but in here is odd app password here. All right, so it's just a little change. So I'm gonna go ahead and yeah. Okay, there we go. Now, this calendar read, user read, offline access, profile offline access, we need to enable this, but I'm sure we're going to do that in a subsequent one pretty soon. Okay, so let's go here. So here, as you can see, we've already added this. We went ahead of it. Then it says locate the line in the index router. Okay, so index router is require routes.index app.js. Set the various line before it. Okay, so before the route, so it says that where we are using the index router, we should insert this code before that, right? That's a lot of code, man. Okay, so let's go here. So this is done. Let's save this. So they're talking about this code. Let me actually stop this so we can get a full screen to do this. All right. So you remember? So here, all right. This is what they're saying: index route. Okay, and they're saying that here index router. So locate the line via index describe. Insert the following code before. All right. So this is it. This is our index router here. So here now all we are doing now is we are setting up passport. We mentioned that passport is the library that allows you to do authentication, whether you are doing XAML, implicit flow, all that, and then it's using the this strategy. And there you go, require passport or Azure. We already have that, so we're using this strategy. And then here it's configuring the passport. So in memory storage of logged in user. So it's creating a user object, and this is going to serialize that user. So once the user comes in, you can see we're getting the user's profile, the ID, and when it's done, it's going to pass the user profile onto the next middleware. We mentioned that password is a middleware thing. Now it calls the deserialize to deserialize the user info that comes. All right. Ideally, you see this. Ideally, this strategy we could have extracted this into a different. Now, production wise, I wouldn't have done this. I would have created a new strategy file or strategy.js file and then done all the things here up until, I mean, the whole of this here, I would have done this and then called it into this app file. So this is just an example, all right? Okay, cool. Okay, so let's just go through this. So here, in memory users, serialize, the serialize used by passport. This is a callback. Okay, once the sign in is complete, it's going to come here, complexity is fine. So if it didn't find any profile, it's just going to tell us there's no profile found. If it found it, it's going to put it into the user's object, and then return that object to us. So this is a strategy. See the strategy? So this is using the Microsoft metadata identity method. So you can see process.env, the authority, um, response type, code ID token, form post. So all this information is just picking from what we've done. All right. So simple, something cool. So hopefully, this should be much of a big deal. So and then the index router. So now we're going to go into the index router, and then we're going to let you use app.initialize and use a session. Right. So let's go to our index router, and then put this before the line. So let's go here. Let's go to our routers. This is the index. And then this. There you go. No, 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 no. Okay. Okay. Oh, no, no, no. Yeah. It's so locate the lines in where we're using, yes, where we are using the index router, we'll have to paste that one instead there instead. Where's that? Like I was like, no, that's wrong. I did the wrong thing. All right, so let's go here. So we've set the whole thing up. Have flash. Yep. So here, just before we use this, we are telling it, hey, initialize passport, initialize the passport session before we call this. So this will be in the middleware. It will be available for you to be used in that route. Okay. Cool. Let's do that. Okay, that should be fine. And then now we need to create a new file. Yep, as you can see, alt. All right, because the callback said what? Alt dot what? Callback. Okay, so we're going to go ahead and create a new file called alt.js in the route, because that's going to handle all our authentication routes. So let's come here, create a new file. We call it what? alt.js. And in here, there you go. Quite simple. All right. Again, Express passport, because we're going to use passport for this authentication. There you go. So we have a route for signing. We have one for the callback, as you can see. And then we have one for what? Sign out. So this route is going to handle all our authentication stuff. Let me do beautify. Try this file. There you go. Save. And yep. Easy does it. Yeah, we'll be wrapping up pretty soon. Okay, so pretty much all that information, the sign method logs is out and destroys the session. So now let's open the app.js and insert the following code before var express line. Yeah, so we need to tell it we're using this for authentication. So before we create the express application, go back here. Before we create the application, express application, we tell it we're using what? This route as well. And then we need to now go and tell it how to use that route, right? So you can see right after this, all right? So before the var express, let's do this. And then after the index route, we are telling it to use this. Quite simple. So here, where is that? Where is that? Yep. Let's come here. Oh, this is app. And using this. And before we tell it to use it, yeah, yeah. There you go. So right after this, we're telling it use this for authentication. All right. This is mainly like the node, like the node basics. All right. Okay. And then we save this and we run it. Okay, and then run. Now when we click on the signing, we should be redirected to the Microsoft login page. And then so that let's test that. All right. Let's test that to make sure this is working, and then we can proceed. So let's go back here. Let's save everything. File. Save all. Bring this up. As usual, let's run our start. And now, do you see that? Do you see it? Now, it's but because we're doing, as you can see, should always validate the issuer. So using HTTP for read. So this is just some information coming from our passport strategy. While we are outputting something. So let's come back here, refresh, and cool. If I say click here to sign in, check this out. Now this takes us here, and because I'm already using like my my ID, check this out. And it looks like there has been an update to the Microsoft page, and I'm seeing this fluid like or Microsoft design thing here. So let me just sign in here. Okay, so what am I going to use? So let me use that same one. So Samuel dot Demystify tech.net. Next was the password. Let me enter my super NASA top secret password. And there you go. Okay, so I want this application node graph tutorial. Do you see that? I want it to maintain access. So it's going to, this app would like to maintain access to data you have granted license to, so you can see, give me all the, and I don't want to do consent on behalf of this organization. No. If I wanted, this is going to give me like, we saw this last week. It's going to allow me to do stuff on behalf of the app, but I won't do that. So I just click accept. And this is my access token. See that? So this gives me this access token. So now I can now use this access token. Okay, I can use this access token. The next time I'm making any request, I can now pass this access token to the Microsoft Active Directory, and then the client and the graph framework can use that. All right. So yeah, we have this sorted. And I think if you use something like JWT, um, this is quick. This is, I think, I have not actually, I've not done this in a long time. Is it .org? Token. There is this. I think this is it. There's this thing that if you paste the token in there, it actually serializes the token for you. Yeah, something like this. I'm not sure, but yeah, yeah. There you go. Do you see it? So it's breaking it up, as you can see. So do you see this? So this gives me this, like all that information encoded in that token. Expiry date, the account, all that information, everything here. All right, cool. Okay, no problem. So now let's continue. So now it's saying that when you run it, the browser redirects the app showing the token. So that's the token we've seen. So we have the token right here. So we are on course. A couple more minutes for us, and then yeah. So now we're going to create a new file in the root of the project name graph.js. So now this is going to be like our helper file that's going to allow us to get information from from the graph API. All right. So let's go ahead and create this quickly. This is getting interesting. Let's stop this. Okay, come here. So in the root, so this is in the root, so I can select this, click here and paste this graph.js. There we go. And then in the graph, we're going to copy this. So quite simple. We're using the graph client. We're using the isomorphic fetch, and then we are exporting this. So client that returns the client information with the access, and then the user that gets. So it calls the client API /me, and then gets that current user. And then here we can get authenticated client from which we can use get information, and we are exporting that as get user details. So when we call get user details, we can use that to get information from the client. So let's do this. So let's copy this here, go here, paste this in here, And I'm going to use my Beautify. There we go. We save this. Looks good. Then let's close this. Let's close index. Let's close alt. Um, boop, 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 boop. Okay, awesome. So we have this now. The exports. So now open the app and add the following requirement to the top of the file. So now, as you can see, we are requiring this graph file right at the top of our apps. Yeah, I can put it somewhere here. That's fine. Nothing fancy. So we have graph here, so we can use the graph to get the client to get authenticated and start to make calls to it. Okay, and then replace the now replace the existing sign in complete function with the following code. All right. So here, if we go to our auth, if you remember, okay, and no, it's still here, still in here, still in app. That yeah, signing completed. Do you see this? So in the signing completed, we're going to replace it with that code. So here, to replace the signing completed function with the following. Okay, so let's copy this and let's go back to our code. So this is it. So I can go ahead and this might probably increase the complexity, but I think before. So you see now complexity is like 9. So this tells us that it's better for me to probably either break this into other subsequent functions that I can call. All right. So again, saying if there's no profile, I get this, and then we try to get the user token. If there is, email is better rating in a dot notation. That's fine because I'm using JS hint. So this giving me the information. I can change this, but let's just keep this. So if there's a user, we are getting the mail, we're getting the user mail, and then the principal name of the person, and then we're saving this into the user's object we created. All right, cool. All right, and then the new code updates a profile provided by Passport to add an email property using the data returned, like I mentioned, and then we have to add this after the app.use passport session line. Okay, so let's copy this. So this on the graph. So here, so where is this? Oh, up.use app.use passport somewhere up here. Okay, yeah. So here, so we are supposed to add the following after app.use passport or session. Okay. So app.use. Yep. Passport or session. And then we're using this. So after this, we're saying that anytime the request has a user object after the password validation, we're adding the user to the locals variable. So now in the locals variable, we'll have everything we want about the user stored, in here, right? If you haven't worked with Passport, you can check that out. It's actually a very cool library. All right, this code. So that's it. Now the next thing is for us to worry about um, storing. How do you call it? Uh, Storing the tokens, right? So now that we are getting the tokens, we need to implement a way to store them, okay, so that the app, can use it for subsequent requests. So we have to um, we'll have to find a way to do this, token host and all that. Let's see how simple this would work. Okay. Well, I think we're close to 2 hour marks. That's like way max of what we're going to do. So, what I'm going to do is that we're going to leave it to this step. And then on next week's episode, we'll continue to finish this up and take a look at the next thing. Thank you very much for joining us. Until I come your way again next week, I would have loved to finish, but I'm just looking at the time. That would be like way 2 hours. And that's like way, we're going beyond our regular 1 hour stream. It's a Friday night, Friday afternoon, Friday morning, wherever you find yourself. Let me leave you to go have some fun. But hey, if you like this, please subscribe, so that we can get you good content. So I'm going to leave it here, and then we can go through it next week, and then see. We're going to continue from adding, finishing this up, and then getting the calendar invite and see if we can do some other things to it. So until I come your way again next week, another episode of the Demystify Tech with me, and to continue with the graph and building your own application. Have a wonderful Friday. Stay safe.